What's your Tyler's back with Retro Reviews here on Tyler's Retro Reviews. Out from the WrestleManias, from the Ruthless Aggression era to back to 2011 TNA with Lockdown 2011. Yeah, this was right after Victory Road 2011, which we did last month. And oh boy, what a chore to get through that show. Mostly because of that disastrous I want to say match, but it was more so as a travesty, really. So yeah, continuing on the journey sort of through every pay-per-view in 2011 TNA as well as 2006. So there'll be one more review left for the month of April, and that's, well, it's a Backlash. Yeah, I think I spoiled it in my WrestleMania 42 review and all that. Regardless, let's get into it. April 17th, it was in the U.S. Bank Arena in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yes, Cincinnati, Ohio. So not in the Impact Zone this time around. So yeah. This pay-per-view was, I'll be honest with you, it was better than the last month pay-per-view Victory Road, let's just be honest here. And we obviously know that had that incident, of course. But take away that fucking incident, that show was bad. Pay-per-view, rather, was bad. And let's talk about this. Every match was a cage match. You always know about the deal with lockdown and all that. Also, this was on the I don't know what I was trying to say, really. I have no idea what I was going to say, really. Let's talk about this period, really. And did it redeem itself? Well, we'll talk about it. I still think the worst one that I done throughout this is, I'm probably gonna do some point, probably next year's 2007 lockdown. That was probably the worst one I've seen. And the second one would probably be, I don't know, really. I think 2013 was not that good because not every match wasn't inside a cage besides the last three. I don't know. But anyways, let's get into this with the escape match to determine the number one contender for the X Division Championship at the next period, which we'll get to that next month when we do Sacrifice 2011 as well as the 06 one. Because that had a really... Well, we'll get to it. Max, I believe this is one of those... won this whole thing, being Amazing Red, Brian Craig, Chris Sabin, Jay Lethal, Jeremy fucking Robbie E. And Suicide. How the hell he got back in this whole thing? It wasn't the best escape match, I'm gonna be honest with you. And basically there's that. Really, I can't fucking stand the fucking Young Bucks. You know how much all that. And I don't think this was right. I believe this is around the time they break up for a minute, and they got back together because, you know, the whole thing with Brian says LOL, TNA, and all that. I don't think TNA wants these guys anyways, so there's that. A 6.5 I'll give it. Anyways, then we get the Memphis Mohawks. I know they're called Inking, but for marketing purposes, they're called the Memphis Mohawks. guess Mark D had to make some funny. I basically borrowed some of his ideas, basically. I'm just a fan of his channel, that's all it is. Defeats the British invasion, Scotland and Crimson. Who? You know, like the Snoop Dogg reference. Who? And Aragon and Orlando Jordan. Not needed. I'm going to be honest with you. A 3 out of 10, I'll give it. Anyways. Seriously, who the fuck is Crimson? I don't know. Whatever. Then we get a title versus hair match for the Knockouts Championship. Mickey James defeats Master Rain in 36 seconds. Yeah, bell rings, Mickey James just won in 36 seconds. What was the point of the whole hair stipulation anyways? Moving on. I can't grade this because it's 36 seconds. I don't grade these. What's there for me to grade, really? Not grading it, really. Moving on. To Samoa Joe defeating D'Angelo De Niro. I think this was the end of their feud. I don't know why they were feuding and all that. Anyways, this match was okay. It was a 6.5 out of 10. You know, Samoa Joe won, and not great for him after all this. In 2011, that is. Anyways, then we have Matt Morgan defeating Hernandez. Can we please just end this fucking feud, please? I think this is the end of their feud also, thankfully. A 2. I'm moving on from this. To, honestly, the best match on this show, the Ultra Male Rules match, is a 2 out of 3 falls steel cage match, really. First fall is a submission match, the second fall is a pinfall only match, and the third fall is getting out of the cage. Because every time they do a lockdown, they have to giving up the cage and all that. Like this, for example, and as well as the escape match and all that. A wild slap nose appears. Jeff Jarrett defeats Kurt Angle. Angle won the first fall, then Jarrett won the second fall, and then Jarrett won the third fall, surprisingly. This feud continued after this. Moving on from that, where the last appearance of China and all that, which I forgot all about that. To their final one-on-one, they're on pay-per-view, which will be a Slammiversary, which we'll get to those and all that. But anyways, so there's your match right there. It's probably the best match on this show, and probably should have been the main event, to be honest. But it didn't main event for some reason. Still, an 8.5 out of 10 I'll give it, but moving on. to the triple threat match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Sting defeats Mr. Anderson and Robin to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This was just mostly just a plot device to continue the Hogan-Sting feud going into Bound for Glory and all that. Yes, that happened. We'll mention that by October, but we're way before that. Way before Joker Sting. Way before Bound for Glory and all that. But yeah, they teased Robin in joining Immortal, which did not happen. But they also teased Mr. Anderson going to Immortal, which that happened. But Sting won still. As far as triple threat matches go, it was solid for what it was. You know, a 6.5 out of 10. Could have been better, but yeah. Anyways. Then we get the main event, the Lethal Lockdown match. Basically, teenage version of War Games, really. Fortune of Christopher Daniels, Beer Money, and Kazarian defeats Immortal Abyss, Boy Ray, Matt Hardy, and Ric Flair. This is a... Of all the Lethal Lockdown matches I've seen, this is kind of the weirdest one ever. This is the... And then also... Really? This was the main event of the pay-per-view? I mean, I get it's called Lockdown and they need a Lethal Lockdown match, but... Really? This is the main event? And Ric Flair was just there to take the fall anyways. And also, by the way... But the reason why, because AJ Styles came back in this match, and... Yeah, this was... Yeah, not... Why was Ric Flair in this whole thing? Like we always said, you know... I mean, Ric Flair should not have been wrestling in the ring after WrestleMania 24, let's be honest here, because... But again, who gives a shit about... Retirement doesn't mean shit in wrestling anyways. When James Stewart got in the ring, Ric Flair was begging, and we all know he was going to get hit with the beer bottle, and he did, and he, of course, it's a typical Ric Flair's match, so he had to bleed all the time. He was wearing a tank top and jeans, which is kind of there, and yeah, I give this a 4 out of 10. That's all I'm giving this. This is a 4 out of 10 main event. And also, this was Ric Flair's second to last match in TNA. His last one was against Sting in, I believe it was September, I believe. Some point after No Surrender going into Bound for Glory, but we'll get to all that soon enough. Yeah. This was an alright pay-per-view. I mean, it was better than the last... Like I said, it was better than last month with that incident and all that. If you take the incident away, it was still a bad show regardless. Or pay-per-view, rather. Whatever. I don't care anymore. But still. Lockdown 2011 is just a middle-of-the-road pay-per-view. I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. So, yeah. So, next week will be Backlash 1999. So, I'll get through the last of the 99 periods I didn't do. Except for Over the Edge 1999, because that does not get touched by a 10-foot pole, okay? But anyway, SmackDown review tomorrow, and then another episode of United. I believe so. Yeah. So yeah, like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel, notification bell, as well as my main channel, also, so you see those videos. And there, I'll get back to the video game reviews at some point. I don't know what game I'm going to do first, but whatever. Bye bye.